Good morning students. So in the last class we have discussed about some of the important terms like ionization enthalpy, electronegativity and electron gain enthalpy. So now one more concept that is said to be the periodic trends in chemical properties. So periodic trends in chemical properties. So in that first one, that is periodicity of valence or oxidation state. First of all, we want to know what do you mean by valence. So valence ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಹೇಗೆ ಡಿಫೈನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ? So valence is the most characteristic property of an element and can be understood in terms of electronic configuration. So this is valence ಅನ್ನೋದು it is the important characteristic property. ಅದನ್ನ ಯಾವ್ದ್ರ ಬೇಸಿಸ್ ಮೇಲೆ ನಾವು ಅರ್ಥ ಮಾಡ್ಕೋತೀವಿ? It can be understood in terms of the electronic configuration of the element ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಹೇಳ್ತೀವಿ. And we know what do you mean by valence electrons. So how you can define the term valence electrons? The electrons which are present in the outermost shell is called as valence electrons, and that outermost shell is called as valence shell anta helbiಟ್ಟು ಹೇಳ್ತೀವಿ, right? So valence electrons means electrons which are present in the outermost shell, and that particular shell is called as a particular shell na ಏನು ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತೀರಿ? That particular shell is called as valence shell ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಹೇಳ್ತೀರಿ. Okay, so remember this, valence can be understood in terms of the electronic configuration of the respective elements. So as I told that valence electrons means the electrons which are present in the outermost shell, and the outermost shell is called as ಅದನ್ನ ಏನಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತೀವಿ? It is called as valence shell ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಹೇಳ್ತೀವಿ. Usually we know that the valence for the representative elements. So we know that which are representative elements. So now ಏನಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ವಿ? Valence for representative elements is usually the electrons which are present in the outermost shell. So what I have told? So I have told that so the valence for representative elements, valence for representative elements, right? Valence for representative elements is always equal to right, equal to the number of electrons, equal to number of electrons present in outermost shell, right, which are present in outermost shell, or which is also called as valence shell. Or I will explain this, or 8 EIGHT number 8 minus the number of electrons present in outermost shell, or valence shell. Okay, present in outermost shell. So as I told that valence is the important characteristic property, and ಅದನ್ನ ಯಾವ್ದ್ರ ಬೇಸಿಸ್ ಮೇಲೆ ಅರ್ಥ ಮಾಡ್ಕೋತೀವಿ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ವಿ, and it is understood in the terms of the electronic configuration, right? Okay, now valence for representative elements. So what are representative elements? That is S and P block elements are called as representative elements. Okay, now so what we can say here, so the electrons which are present in the outermost shell are called as valence, or it is equal to 8 minus the number of electrons present in the outermost shell. So I will show you how is this possible. Iga that is group 1, group 2 and group 13 elements, that is group 1, group 2 and group 13 elements. So group 1, group 2 and group 13 elements. So here valence is nothing but the electrons present in the outermost shell. So valence is nothing but electrons present in outermost shell. Okay, so electrons present in the outermost shell. Whereas from group 14 to group 18, so the electrons present in the outermost shell is valence, or 8 minus the number of electrons present in the outermost shell. ಈಗ group 1 ಮತ್ತು group 2 elements ಗೆ ನಾವು 8 minus 1 ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಆಗಲ್ಲ. It is applicable only from group 14. Okay, so group 14 ಇಂದ ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಈಗ ನಮಗೆ ಗೊತ್ತಿದೆ alkali metals general electronic configuration NS1. So how many valence electrons are there? 1. For that reason its valence is equals to 1 ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಹೇಳ್ತೀವಿ. Similarly, what is the general electronic configuration of group 2 elements? It is ns2 alva. Outermost shell consists of 2 electrons, so therefore we can say that valence is equals to 2. ಅದೇ ರೀತಿ group 13 consider ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ, so if we consider the group 13 elements, that is ns2 np1, the added electrons will enter into the p subshell, so it is p block elements. How many valence electrons are there? 3. So therefore its valence is equals to 3. So up to group 13 tanka we can follow this method. Now after this group 13 elements, next yaad baratte, that is group 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, right? So group 14 elements general electronic configuration is ns2 np2, 15 ns2 np3, group 16 elements ns2 np4, whereas group 17 elements it is ns2 np5 and group 18 ns2 np6. Clear? Okay, so now I will see. So we know that number of valence electrons, so number of valence electrons, so valence electrons for the group 14 elements is 4, right? Here it is 3 plus 2 5. For group 16 elements 6, here it is 7, and the outermost shell is completely filled and 8 electrons, right? So this is the number of valence electrons from group 14 to group 18. Now we will check valence, right? So we will check the valence, that is same here 4 or 8 minus 4. 8 minus 4 andre enagate, it is also 4, right? Next, for group 15 elements, one the valence andre the electrons which are present in the outermost shell, that is 5, and one more 8 minus number of electrons present in the outermost shell, that is 8 minus 5 andre eshtagutte, it is equal to 3, right? That is 5,3 anta helbiಟ್ಟು ಬರಿತೀವಿ. Next one, for the group 16 elements, valence means 6, 8 minus 6 means 2, right? So ಅದೇ ರೀತಿ for group 17 elements ಗೆ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ ನೋಡ್ರಿ, valence is nothing but 1, that is 8 minus 7 is 1, right? For group 18 elements, that is for the noble gas or for the inert gas, so valence is 8 or 8 minus 8 which is equal to 0, right? 8 minus 8 which is equal to 0. So this is the way that we are going to explain the valence of the representative elements. It is equal to number of electrons which are present in the outermost shell or 8 minus the number of electrons which are present in the outermost shell, and that is applicable from the group 14. Group 1, group 2 elements and group 13 elements, it is not applicable. Okay. Valence or valency can be explained by one more term. So that is nothing but, we all know that valence is nothing but combining capacity of an element, right? So how we can define valency? It is nothing but the combining capacity of an element, right? Combining capacity of an element. So we have already know that valency andre hege anta helತೀವಿ, it is nothing but the number of electrons which are present in the outermost shell or 8 minus the number of the valence electrons ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಡಿಸ್ಕಸ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ವಿ. So here, as I told that valence is nothing but the combining capacity of an element. So one more definition ಅನ್ನು ಹೇಗೆ ಡಿಫೈನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ? It is defined as the number of hydrogen or halogen atoms. Halogens is nothing but which group elements? The number of hydrogen or halogen atoms. Group 17 elements are called as halogens. The number of hydrogen or halogen atoms or twice the number of oxygen atoms or twice the number of oxygen atoms which combine with one atom of the element, So this way we can define the valency. We all know that it is nothing but the combining capacity of an element. So adrinda ಏನಂತ ಹೇಳ್ಬೋದು, it is nothing but the number of hydrogen or halogens or twice the number of the oxygen atoms which combine with one atom of the element. So I will give you one example, that is in the first case, that is in the case of ammonia. What is the valency or valence of the nitrogen? So how many hydrogen atoms are there? So that is which combines with the one atom of the element, 3 hydrogen atoms. So that means here valency of nitrogen is 3, right? That is valency or valence of nitrogen atom is said to be 3. Similarly, if I write like this, that is aluminium hydride, aluminium hydride. So what is the valency of aluminium here? That means the number of hydrogen atom is 3. So therefore, the valency of aluminium is said to be 3. Got it? How to write? The next important, that is valency of aluminium I2. The next one is said to be the, if I write like this, that is phosphorus pentachloride. So chlorine is nothing but the halogen, that is number of hydrogen or halogen. That means here in this case valency of phosphorus is said to be 5, right? The valency of phosphorus is said to be 5. So one more example, that is in the case of the water molecule. So that is in the case of water molecule, that is H2O. What is the valency of hydrogen? Twice the number of oxygen atoms. That means the valency of so what is the valency of the oxygen in the water molecule? So it combined with the 2 hydrogen atoms. So therefore valency of oxygen is 2. Gottaita hege explain ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿ? It is nothing but the number of hydrogen or halogen atoms, right? Or twice the number of the oxygen atoms which combines with the one atom of the element. So this is said to be the valence or valency. Now we will see how the valency will change in the periodic table. So down the group what happens and across the period what happens. What happens to the valency down a group? So we know that down a group, that is mainly in the S block elements, that is group 1 elements, the outer electronic configuration is NS1, and for the group 2 elements, that is alkaline earth metals, the outer electronic configuration is NS2. So therefore the down the group the valency will remains the same. That is the group 1 elements, right? The group 1 elements. So what about the valency of the group 1 elements? It is said to be 1. So we can also call it as monovalent, right? We can also call it as monovalent and because it can lose only 1 electron. At the same time, for group 2 elements, right? For group 2 elements, so what about the valency? Valency is said to be 2. So because the outermost it can lose how many electrons? 2 electrons, and we can call it as divalent. Okay, so we can call it as divalent. Group 1 elements monovalent anta heltivi, whereas the group 2 elements are called as divalents. Now what happens to the down a group I2, where the down a group the valency will not change, it will remain the same. So whether for down a group also the valence or valency will remains the same or it will changes. So that we will see. That is the next one, across a period. Down a group I2, the next one is across a period. Okay, so we will see. So first I will show you one chart, that is elements, that is hydrides. Okay, so I am going to write like this. In the first column, elements. Okay, in the second column, hydrides, valency, with respect to hydrogen. Hydrides means whenever the metals it reacts with the hydrogen, it will form the respective hydrides. This we know, right? For example, if I write the elements like lithium, beryllium, boron, carbon, nitrogen, oxygen and fluorine, right? So lithium, it formed the hydride, that is LiH. Beryllium, it will form BeH2. Boron, it will form BH3. Carbon reacts with hydrogen to form methane, CH4. Nitrogen, it will form ammonia, NH3. Oxygen, it will form H2O. And fluorine, it will form HF. Now can you tell me valency of these elements? So here the valency is said to be 1. So whereas here it is 2. So here it is 3, here it is 4. Again you see the in the case of ammonia, the valency is, how many valence is there? 3 hydrogen atoms, 3. Here it is 2, 1. So what you can say across a period, we can say that across a period the valency with respect to, if I consider the hydrides and if I consider the chlorides also, it will come same. So hydrides adru consider madri, chlorides adru consider madri. Iga lithium chloride andre ಏನು ಬರುತ್ತೆ? LiCl. Beryllium chloride andre ಏನು ಬರುತ್ತೆ? BeCl2. Carbon tetrachloride andre CCl4. The number of hydrogen or the number of halogen atoms, right? So that we have discussed in the previous only. So what you can observe here, the valency with respect to hydrogen or chlorine, it increases from 1 to 4. For starting it is increases from 1 to 4. After that it decreases, right? After that it will decreases. So this is the way we can explain the valence or valency down a group and across a period. So now across a period alli one more explain ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ. ಇದು ಒಂದು number of the valence electrons and one more is 8 minus the number of the valence electrons. So remember these two concepts, okay? Now oxidation state. So what do you mean by oxidation state? Oxidation state is nothing but it is defined as the oxidation state of an element is the number of electrons lost or gained by an atom of an element so involved into the chemical bonding. So when the bonding involve adaga, so one atom will lose the electron and other may gain the electron. A concept name that is said to be the oxidation state of that particular atom. Or we can explain one more term. For example, I will tell you this is Na, this is Na plus. So idra mele enadru charge idya? Illa. So adrinda the oxidation number of sodium which is in the free state is said to be 0. ಅದೇ ರೀತಿ what is the oxidation number of sodium here? ಇದ್ರ ಮೇಲೆ ಚಾರ್ಜ್ ಏನಿದೆ? ಪ್ಲಸ್ ಇದೆ. ಅದರಿಂದ ಇದ್ರದ್ದು ಆಕ್ಸಿಡೇಷನ್ ನಂಬರ್ ಏನಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತೀವಿ? It is said to be +1. Similarly, so what is the oxidation state of chlorine and chloride ions? So here what is the oxidation of chlorine? ಇದ್ರ ಮೇಲೆ ಏನಾದರೂ ಚಾರ್ಜ್ ಇದೆಯಾ? ಇಲ್ಲ. So ಅದರಿಂದ ಇದ್ರದ್ದು ಆಕ್ಸಿಡೇಷನ್ ಸ್ಟೇಟ್ ಏನಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತೀವಿ? It is equal to 0. Here idra mele charge enide? It is -1. So therefore oxidation state is equals to -1. So electron loss adru agi, electrons gain adaga when they are involved in the bonding. So that is said to be the oxidation state. Or we can also define oxidation state by one more definition, that is it is defined as the charge, it is defined as the charge acquired by the charge which is acquired by the charge which is acquired by an atom on the basis of ಏನಂತ ಬರೆದ್ರೆ ಏನು ಹೇಳಿ? So on the basis of electronegativity of the other atoms, electronegativity of other atoms in an element, or sorry, in the molecule. So oxidation state andre hege one definition enanta helidvi? The oxidation state of an element is nothing but where the electron may loss or the number of electrons lost or gain when an atom in an atom of an element enter into the chemical bonding. So one molecule formation agbekadre one element loss, electron loss agutte, innondralli gain agutte. Or one more hege explain ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ? It is nothing but the charge which is acquired by the atom on the basis of the electronegativity of the other atoms in a molecule. That is, for example, OF2. This is said to be the oxygen difluoride, OF2 ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಹೇಳ್ತೀವಿ. So here it is based upon the electronegativity of the other atoms ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಹೇಳಿದ್ದೀವಿ. When we compare oxygen and fluorine, which is more electronegative? Fluorine is more electronegative element, and we know that. So you are going to discuss the rules in the oxidation redox chapter. So just I am going to tell you here. So oxidation number of electronegative element is always 1. Okay, idradu fluorine the oxidation number enide, it is always 1 ide, -1 ide. So hagadre what is the oxidation number of oxygen here? So it can be found by, so x ಅಂತ ಕನ್ಸಿಡರ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ, ಯಾವುದನ್ನ ಫೈಂಡ್ ಔಟ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು ಅದನ್ನ x ಅಂತ ಕನ್ಸಿಡರ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ, ಸಮ್ ಪ್ಲಸ್ 2 into oxidation number of fluorine is -1, which is equal to, hence it is a molecule, it is equal to 0. So ಇದ್ರ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಬಹಳ ಟೆನ್ಷನ್ ತಗೋಬೇಡ್ರಿ. So you are going to discuss this in the redox reaction chapter. X minus 2 is equals to 0, x is equals to plus 2. X ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಯಾವುದಿಲ್ಲಿ, x is nothing but the oxygen. So ಹಾಗಾದ್ರೆ oxygen oxidation number ಎಷ್ಟಾಯಿತು, it is equal to plus 2 in the one case. Okay, now in the second case, that is Na2O, this is sodium oxide, right? So here find the oxidation number of oxygen. So sodium is an alkali metal, so alkali metal means its oxidation number is always +1. So that means how many sodium are there? 2 sodium are there, that is 2 into +1, right, plus oxygen the find out ಮಾಡಬೇಕು, consider it as x is equals to, hence it is a molecule, it is hence it is a compound, it is equal to 0, right? Now that is 2 plus x is equals to 0, that is x is equals to -2. ಒಂದು ಕೇಸಲ್ಲಿ ಆಕ್ಸಿಜನ್ಗೆ +2 ಬಂದಿದೆ, ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ಕೇಸಲ್ಲಿ ಆಕ್ಸಿಜನ್ಗೆ -2 ಬಂದಿದೆ. That means it is based on the basis of the electronegativity of the other atoms in a molecule. Depending upon that, the we can define the oxidation state. It is nothing but the charge which is acquired by an atom on the basis of the electronegativity of the other atoms in a molecule. So don't worry about this calculation, you are going to discuss in the redox reaction chapter. Okay. The next important concept is said to be diagonal relationship. So what do you mean by the diagonal relationship? So before this we have to know some rules in this periodic table. So we know that the first element of the each group of S and P block elements, that is the first member of each group of S and P block elements, they will show the different characteristics from the other members of the same group. So what I have told, so the first members, that is hydrogen, beryllium, so this is of S block element, boron, carbon, nitrogen, oxygen, fluorine and helium. So this is of the P block elements. So these will show some different characteristic properties, so of the same group other than that of the same group elements. So the same group ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಇತ್ತು ಕೂಡ, so ಇದ್ರದ್ದು properties ಏನಾಗ್ತಾ ಹೋಗುತ್ತೆ, vary ಆಗ್ತಾ ಹೋಗುತ್ತೆ, right? So now I'm going to say that the elements of the second period, so that is the first 3 elements of the second period. So which are the first 3 elements of the second period? That is lithium, beryllium and boron. The elements of the second first 3 elements of the second period. First 3 elements andre yaud barutte, that is lithium, beryllium and the boron. They show the diagonal relationship with the relationship with the elements of the third period, that is magnesium, aluminium and the silicon, which is placed on the right hand side. This relationship is called as diagonal relationship. So ಏನಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ವಿ, the first 3 elements of the second period, it will show the diagonal relationship between the third period of the 3 elements which are present in the right hand side. So except sodium, so right hand side andre hige diagonal relationship barta hogutte, not like this, right? So adrinda hege heltivi, lithium will show the diagonal relationship with magnesium, so beryllium with aluminium and boron with the silicon. The 3 elements will show the diagonal relationship. So the diagonal relationship means it will show some similar properties. So this diagonal relationship arises mainly because of the similar ionic radius, or we can also say that charge to radius ratio rule. So what do you mean by that? Or we can also call it as charge to size and third. So what do you mean by that charge to size? It is nothing but the polarizing power. So what we are going to call that? Charge to size ratio it is also called as polarizing power. So now we will see what is that, how we can show the diagonal relationship. So what I have told, the first three elements. So first three elements means that is lithium, right? Beryllium, boron. So I am going to write one more, that is carbon. Okay, so first three elements andre idu matra consider agutte. So just to show that the first three elements, that is lithium, beryllium and boron. So it will show the diagonal relationship between the next three elements of the third period, which is present on the right hand side. So lithium next yaad baratte, that is sodium, magnesium, right? Aluminium, silicon. So how to show the diagonal relationship now? So lithium will show the diagonal relationship with the magnesium, beryllium with the aluminium and boron with the silicon. So this is the right hand side, right? So this is called as diagonal relationship, which will show the similar properties. That is, for example, lithium reacts with the nitrogen to form the lithium nitride. Similarly, magnesium reacts with the nitrogen to form the magnesium nitride. Ee riti ಕೆಲವೊಂದು similar properties exhibit ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ. So that similar properties can be explained with the help of the diagonal relationship. So the definition for the diagonal relationship is relationship between the first element of a group. The relationship between the first element of a group with the second element in the next higher group is known as diagonal relationship. So what do you mean? How we are going to define the diagonal relationship? That is nothing but the relationship between the first elements of a group with the second elements of the next higher group, right? So this is said to be the diagonal relationship. So this you are going to discuss detail in the chapter that is called as S block elements. So just remember, so lithium will show the diagonal relationship with the magnesium, beryllium with the aluminium and boron with the silicon. Only the three elements of the second period and the third period elements. Okay. Some of the reasons for the anomalous property are, first one, that is said to be small size. So small size. So whenever the size is very small, we know that what about the electronegativity and the ionization enthalpy? Both are very high. Small size, high electronegativity, right? High electronegativity, high electronegativity, and one more, that is said to be charge to size ratio. One is charge to size ratio. So what do you mean by this charge to size ratio, or we can also say that charge to radius ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಹೇಳ್ಬೋದು. So charge to size ratio, it is nothing but the polarizing power. So we are going to call it as polarizing power. Okay. Now the second one, that is said to be the presence of only 2s and 2p orbitals. Presence of only 2s and 2p orbitals. The first elemental yavaglu enirutte, presence of only 2s and 2p orbitals. That is nothing but, so what does this indicates? It says that absence of d orbitals, right? Absence of d orbitals. Absence of d orbitals. So for this, I will give you one example. If we consider the nitrogen atom, so nitrogen, it comes under group 15 element whose atomic number is said to be 7. And if I write down the electronic configuration, it is 1s2, 2s2, 2p3, right? 1s2, 2s2, 2p3. So what is the value of n here? N is nothing but the principal quantum number. N is equals to 2. When n is equals to 2, only two subshells are possible. So that is 2s and 2p. Whether you can see any d orbitals here, now 2d anta baritiva? No. So remember this, when n is equals to 2, when the principal quantum number is 2, only the two subshells are possible, that is 2s and 2p. So if I take the one more element of the same group, so nitrogen group 15 al barate, so same group if we consider one more element, that is said to be the phosphorus, whose atomic number is said to be 15. And if I write down the electronic configuration, it is 1s2, 2s2, 2p6, 3s2, 3p3, right? Here what is the value of n? N is equals to 3. When n is equals to 3, we know that 3 subshells are possible. Which are those 3 subshells? That is 3s, 3p and 3d. That means here there is a presence of d orbitals. But on the first element, in the first case, there is presence of only 2s and 2p orbitals. There is absence of d orbitals, right? So this is very important. So why there is absence of d orbitals? Because the principal quantum number value is 2. When n is equals to 2, we know that only 2 subshells are possible, that is 2s and 2p. And one more important reason for this anomalous property is, so these are the two reasons, that is small size, high electronegativity and absence of d orbitals. The third important point is the first member of the p block elements, the first member of p block element, first member of p block elements have the greater ability to form the p-pi bonds with itself or with the other elements, right? So first member of the p block elements, it has the ability to form p-pi bond with itself, p-pi bond with itself compared to other elements. So compared to other elements, ಬೇರೆ elements ಗೆ compare ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ p block elements in a first member ಏನು ಮಾಡಬಹುದು? It can form the p-pi bonds. Now, what do you mean by that p-pi bonds? p-pi bonds is nothing but the p orbitals will overlap to form the pi bonds, means it is formed by the sideways overlapping of the orbitals. We know that the shape of p orbitals is said to be the dumbbell shape, right? When these dumbbell shape overlap sideways, it will give rise to the pi bond. For example, that is, we can show like this. So carbon, in between carbon and carbon, there is a presence of double bond, and in between nitrogen and nitrogen, there is a presence of triple bond, right? One is sigma bond and the remaining two are said to be the pi bonds, which is formed by the overlapping of p-pi bonds. The p orbitals which will overlap sideways to form the pi bonds. So these are the reasons for the anomalous properties. One is small size, high electronegativity, and one more is said to be the charge to size ratio. The second one, presence of only 2s and 2p orbitals. What does this indicate? This indicates the absence of d orbitals. And the one more point, that is said to be the first member of the p block elements, it can form the p-pi bond with itself when compared to that of the other elements. Now I will discuss about periodic trends in the chemical reactivity. So we all know that the metallic character is maximum in the elements which are placed on the left side of the periodic table. So we all know that. So metallic character is maximum which is placed in the left side of the periodic table, and which is minimum in the periodic table which is placed in the extreme right of the periodic table, right? So this is the S block elements and this is the P block elements. So this we know, right? So in this we can say that the S block elements are said to exhibit the metallic characters and the P block elements will exhibit the non-metallic characters. For that reason we can say that the metallic character is maximum in the elements which are placed on the extreme left of the periodic table, and the non-metallic characters are placed in the extreme right of the periodic table, right? So this can be explained by using a simple concept, that is, metallic character means we can call it as electropositive elements, right? So what we can call metallic characters? So metallic characters is nothing but metallic character metallic character is nothing but electropositive character, right? So electropositive character. So what do you mean by electropositive character? Electropositive character means the tendency to lose the electron. So therefore we can say that electropositive character or electron releasing one, right? We can say like this, electron releasing one. So similarly, so what do you mean by the non-metallic character then? So non-metallic character means, as I told, that it is placed in the extreme right of the periodic table. So non-metallic character means that said to be the electronegative elements, right, which has a tendency to attract the shared pair of electron towards itself. So therefore we can say that non-metallic character means electronegative elements or electronegative character, or this is nothing but electron accepting one or electron accepting one. So now ಏನಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತೀವಿ, metallic character means they are said to be the electropositive character, which means the electron releasing one, the tendency to lose the outermost electrons. At the same time, at the extreme right of the periodic table, they are said to be the non-metallic character. So non-metallic character means they are electronegative, they will exhibit the characteristic of electronegativity. Electronegativity means they are the electron accepting one, right? They are the electron accepting one. Now one more term, as I told, that is nothing but the oxidation and reduction. So this we are going to discuss in detail in the chapter, but in this chapter I am going to tell a little bit about this. So what do you mean by oxidation and reduction? So oxidation, if we explain it in terms of electrons, okay, if we explain this in the terms of electrons, oxidation means loss of electrons and reduction means gain of electrons. In this second chemical reactivity, that is said to be reducing and oxidizing character. Reducing and oxidizing character. Reducing and oxidizing character. So what do you mean by this reducing and oxidizing character? We know what do you mean by oxidation and what do you mean by reduction. So just now I told oxidation is nothing but loss of electrons and reduction is nothing but the gain of electrons. According to the electron concept, the oxidizing and the reducing character can be explained like this. In that first one, that is oxidizing character. In that first one, that is said to be oxidizing character. ಯಾವ basis ಮೇಲೆ explain ಮಾಡ್ತಿದೀವಿ? So it is explained on the basis of the electron concept. So oxidizing character means they are said to be the electron accepting metals. If we express in terms of the electrons, oxidizing character means they are the electron accepting one. So they are electron accepting one. Okay, so electron accepting one, where we can find this electron accepting one? In the extreme left of the periodic table or in the extreme right of the periodic table? Yes, so electron accepting one, they are nothing but they are found at the extreme right of the periodic table. Correct alva? So adrinda adanna enant heltivi, non metals. So non metals, they have a tendency to accept the electron. So for that reason we can say that non-metals are strong oxidizing agent. So non-metals are strong oxidizing agent. ಗೊತ್ತಾಗ್ತಿದೆಯಾ ಹೇಳ್ತಿರೋದು? They are said to be the strong oxidizing agent. Okay, so they are the strong oxidizing agent. Once again, if in terms of electrons, if we explain the oxidizing character is nothing but the electron accepting one. Where we can find this electron accepting one in the periodic table? At the extreme right. Extreme right means they exhibit the non-metallic characters. So for that reason we can say that non-metals are strong oxidizing agent, right? They are said to be the strong oxidizing agent. So oxidizing character aitu. The next one, it is said to be the reducing character. So hagadra, what do you mean by reducing character now? So either opposite irutte. So that is, so what do you mean by reducing character? So how we can explain this reducing character now? So this is an electron releasing one. So oxidizing character electron accepting one ಆಗ್ತಿದೆ ಅಂದ್ರೆ, so what do you mean by reducing character? Reducing character is nothing but it is an electron releasing one. Okay, electron releasing one. So in the periodic table, so which portion is said to be the electron releasing one? That is said to be the extreme left. Extreme left andre enadu? That is nothing but the metals. Right? For that reason we can say that metals are strong reducing agent. So remember this point, metals are strong reducing agent. These are strong reducing agent. At the same time, non-metals are strong oxidizing agents. So remember this point, oxidizing character means they are electron accepting one, and reducing character means they are the electron releasing one. Okay, so this is very important concept. So we can explain the oxidizing agent and reducing agent in one more way also, so that we are going to discuss in the main chapter, that is said to be the redox reactions. Okay, so now we will discuss about oxides. So what do you mean by oxides? Oxides means whenever the metals and non-metals, right? Whenever the metals and non-metals reacts with oxygen, whenever it reacts with oxygen, so what it will form? It will form the respective oxides. So whenever the metals and the non-metals reacts with oxygen, it will form the respective oxides. Correct? For example, when zinc reacts with the oxygen, it will form the zinc oxide. So it will form the zinc oxide. Similarly, whenever the sodium reacts with the oxygen, it will form the sodium oxide. Whenever the nitrogen reacts with the oxygen, it will form nitrogen dioxide, dinitrogen pentoxide, and many other things, right? So this concept we know. In this oxides, we can classify the oxides into three different types. So one is acidic oxide. So classification heltidini. One is acidic oxide, right? One is acidic oxide. The second one is basic oxide, acidic oxide, basic oxide, and one more is said to be neutral. Acidic oxide, basic oxide, and one more is said to be neutral. So as we all know that oxides means whenever the metals and the non-metals it reacts with the oxygen, it will form the respective oxides, and it can be classified into three types, that is acidic oxide, basic oxide, and one more is said to be the neutral oxide. Now we will discuss one by one. In that, the first one, that is said to be acidic oxide. So what do you mean by this acidic oxide? So how we can explain this acidic oxide now? So I will give you one example. You tell me what do you mean by acidic oxide then. Okay, so that is acidic oxide means, I will give you one example, that is oxides of non-metals, that is carbon dioxide. It is nothing but the oxide of non-metal. Whenever it combines with the water, H2O, it will form, so what it will form? It will form H2, just add Madri, H2, 1 carbon, and how many oxygen are there? 3 oxygen are there. So this is called as carbonic acid. So what is this called as? This is called as carbonic acid. So that means I will give you one more example, that is SO2. So what is SO2? It is sulfur dioxide. So whenever the sulfur dioxide combines with the water, it will form, how many hydrogen are there? 2 hydrogen are there, 1 sulfur S. How many oxygen are there? 3 oxygen are there, that is H2SO3. This is called as sulfurous acid. Okay, so this is called as sulfurous acid. So I think you people know the formula of sulfuric acid. Sulfuric acid formula ಏನಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತೀರಿ? That is H2CO4, whereas sulfurous acid is H2SO3. So this is said to be the acidic oxide. Then how you can define acidic oxide now? Acidic oxide means oxides of non-metals. Carbon, sulfur, nitrogen, alla tagondre adana enant heltivi, that said to be the oxides of non-metals. Whenever the oxides of the non-metals combines with the water, it will form the respective acids. Such oxides are called as acidic oxides. right? So acidic oxides andre enu? Oxides of non-metals. So carbon is a non-metal, sulfur is a non-metal. So whenever the oxides of the non-metals, it combines with the water, it will form the respective acids. Such type of oxides are called as acidic oxides. Okay. So now you tell me, acidic oxides are found in, so they are found in the extreme right, or they are found in the extreme left of the periodic table? Yes. So non-metals means the oxides which are formed by the element on the extreme right of the periodic table is said to be they are said to be the more acidic oxides. Got it? So this is said to be the acidic oxide. Now one more, that is said to be the basic oxides. So then how you can explain basic oxide now? I will give you one example. That is, what is this? This is said to be the sodium oxide. Sodium is a metal. The oxides of metals, whenever it combines with the water, what it will form? It will form sodium hydroxide. So what is the formula of sodium hydroxide? That is NaOH, right? So that is said to be NaOH. Whenever the oxides of metals combines with the water, it will form the respective base. So this is base. So such oxides are called as basic oxides. Similarly, whenever the magnesium oxide combines with the water, it will form the magnesium hydroxide. So that is, whenever the oxide of magnesium, that is MgO, right? Whenever it combines with the water, that is H2O. So what it will forms? So it will forms magnesium hydroxide, MgOH twice, right? So the oxides of metals, whenever the oxides of metals combines with the water, it will form the respective base. So such oxides are called as basic oxides. And the oxides in ant heltivi, such oxides are called as basic oxides. Then what do you mean by neutral oxides now? So neutral oxides means they are neither acidic nor basic in nature. So once again, acidic oxides means oxides of non-metals. Basic oxides means oxides of metals. So what do you mean by neutral oxides? Neutral oxides means they are neither acidic nor basic in nature. Such oxides are called as neutral oxides. The best example for neutral oxides are, that is, neutral oxides ಗೆ ಯಾವುದು example ಕೊಡಬಹುದು? One is carbon monoxide, that is CO. One more is NO. So all these are example for the neutral oxides. Remember this, neutral oxides, carbon monoxide, NO. So all these are examples for the neutral oxides. I'll give you two examples. You have to tell me whether it is acidic or basic oxide. First one, that is sodium oxide. The second one, that is said to be the oxide of chlorine or dichlorine heptaoxide. So one is the oxide of metal and another one is oxide of the non-metals. We know that the oxides of the metals, whenever it combines with the water, it will form the respective base, which is basic in nature. So for that reason, the oxides of metals are said to be the basic oxides. Whenever the oxides of non-metals, it combines with the water, it will form the respective acids, that is 2HClO4, right? So this is called as perchloric acid. This is called as perchloric acid, right? So oxides of metals, oxides of non-metals, right? So this is the way that we are going to differentiate between the acidic and the basic oxide. So if I give like this, so carbon monoxide, it is an example for neutral oxide, right? It is an example for neutral oxide. Then what do you mean by amphoteric in nature? So acidic, basic, neutral aitu. Now one more is there, that is said to be the amphoteric oxides. That is amphoteric oxides. What do you mean by that amphoteric oxides? Amphoteric means they behaves as acid with base and base with acids. So amphoteric andre ಏನಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತೀವಿ? They can act either both as an acid as well as base. So that is said to be the amphoteric. So we can also call water is an example for, it can act, water is an example for amphoteric. So oxides ಹೇಳ್ತಿಲ್ಲ ನಾನು, amphoteric in nature because it can act both as an acid as well as base. Similarly, amphoteric oxides means which can act both as an acid as well as base. We can also say that, so in the acidic medium, they behaves as acidic with bases or as basic with acids. The best example is said to be Al2O3, oxide of alumina, and one more is there that is said to be the arsenic oxide, As2O3. So these two are the best example for the amphoteric oxides, right? So these are the few things that we have discussed in this chapter. So that is, the common definition is very important, electroionization enthalpy, how it varies, the factors affecting ionization enthalpy and all these things. And 1 marks they may ask the questions like this. So write down the UPAC name of the element, 104, 105, like this they may ask. So all these things, the variation of the ionic radius, isoelectronic species, all these things are very important. So students, so go through the video properly. If you have any doubt, you can ask. Thank you, students.